say so. Ryan can bring it out if he wants, but no, I wouldn't say it comes out. I wish it would. It'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, well, when he was being recruited, he still had some of that.
A little bit.
Yeah. Must have let it go. So.
Yeah, it's cool though. Both being from, I didn't realize till a couple years ago that Ryan was from Australia for like 14 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just kind of funny. They talk about things I've never heard of, like a meat pie. I don't know what a meat pie is. It sounds like chicken pot pie, but it's not quite the same thing. I don't know. I'm still learning.
He was talking about how he was playing baseball out there, and I guess there were kangaroos in the outfield or something like that.
Yeah,
and his parents were like freaked out, but it's like deer to them.
Yeah, it's like I try to imagine like having like a kangaroo in my backyard, like a deer. It doesn't seem like the same thing, but apparently it is. So I don't know.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Was the come down from Saturday any more difficult than after any other games?
I wouldn't say so. I think everybody's so invested in, we have had such a good season so far. We want to keep that momentum going, and we've got a lot of mature guys and understand that it's going to take. We have to reset our focus for the new week, and I think it was a good win, but it was also one of those like kind of exhausting wins, and it's kind of glad that it's behind us. It was got over with. Now it's time to move on, and we still got half a season left. So,
if I had asked you, at the beginning of the year, all the possible adversity or challenges you were going to have, I don't know if hearing Noise as being the number 2 team in the country would have been one that you would have thought about or even mentioned. Just that challenge of. Now a lot of the noise, I'm sure, is positive more so than maybe negative or questioning earlier in the year. How is handling that challenge now as, like you said, we're only halfway through the year? Yeah,
it's kind of just owning it. We're playing well, but that's going to take every practice test. We still have to get better. We still haven't reached our full potential, I think, and I think everybody would agree with me. But, harping on to especially some of the younger guys and everything that we have to practice every day. We have to get a little better. We have to improve on things because I'm sure the tape wasn't perfect. I didn't see all the offensive defensive tape, but I know I would say they probably don't say it was perfect. So they're going to find what was wrong, fix those things. So because we still can get better, it's still going to take us to get better to be that team we want to be at the end of the season. So,
what kind of challenge is this week in the sense that you guys have played these big emotional games? A few of them here. You go into a game where on paper you guys are favored and expected to win, and you have the number 2 and all that. Just what kind of challenge is handling this week off of such an emotional week? The Saturday prior.
Yeah, you touched on the noise. So being able to come back and realize that every Big Ten game is a challenge. Every team's good. Sometimes the records might not show it, but every game is hard. Everybody who's out there. Purdue's probably got a couple first rounders and Bell and they have a defensive player really good. I can't remember the name, but no, they're well coached too, and so we have to realize that if we take a step backwards, these teams are all still good enough to beat us, and so it's going to take our best football to beat these teams. So
what is kind of instilled through this program that even if you didn't anticipate being in a spot where you're number 2 in the country, if you get to that spot, it's a seamless transition into handling everything that comes with it. What about what you guys hear daily and often from everybody kind of makes that a transition easier?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we talk about just practicing at a championship level every day. So every rep, every series in practice, every drill, try to make it your best drill. And if you do that, you're not worrying about what happened yesterday or what happens tomorrow. You're worried about that part of practice. You're going to get better that day, and then eventually that'll play into and transition into Friday, Saturday, and then we play our best football. So that's kind of our focus every day, is just trying to practice at that championship level. Be the best team we can be.
Pretty dynamic receivers.
Yeah, absolutely. They have a lot of good receivers. One specifically, but very good. But it's gonna be very important for us to get a good pass rush. Like I said, they pass more than they run, so it's gonna be paramount that we get to the quarterback.
They say next man in. It looks like Riley probably won't be able to go this game, but you guys have all the confidence in the world in Terry Roberts, right?
Yeah. So obviously, Coach Ferentz talks about the injuries and stuff, but Terry's a great player. He'll be ready to go.
It's an energy thing with him. Boy, he really brings it, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, you guys have been seeing it on special teams all year, but he brings that same energy in practice on defense, and this week's been no different.
All right, appreciate that. Thanks, man.
Last year we asked you about how you got here and so forth, but it was Zoom, and it just,
Not the same
who
thing.
remembers? Yeah. But in retrospect, has this been everything that you wanted it to be? You getting a chance to show you can play in the Big Ten, and if you could take us back How do you make that decision to leave and come, from D2 to this?
Yeah, so it was primarily an academic decision. I'd finished my degree in 3 years and had 2 more of eligibility. I had 3 more now. I had no way of knowing that at the time, but I had 2 years left eligibility. I figured I might as well go get a master's and obviously see if I can compete at this level. In the last 2 years, I found out I can compete at this level, and now I'm really happy I came back to have this great team experience, and hopefully we can keep it going.
What was it when you were in Michigan in college that made you think I can play in the Big Ten?
I always kind of had that feeling, in high school and things like that. But I never really just got that opportunity, and I had a great opportunity going to Hillsdale. They gave me a great scholarship, so it was kind of in high school I was thinking, it's kind of a pride thing to turn down a great opportunity, a great scholarship in order to just, you think you can go play D1, so you're just going to turn down a full ride. That's, in my mind, that's not very smart. But it's really turned out in the way, a way I couldn't have expected it to.
What was it like there? I mean, I don't know what size the crowds were, but I'm guessing in the low thousands.
Yeah, so school enrollment of 1,300, so probably maybe 2,000 to 3,000 for the most most attended of our games. But yeah, it's a whole different experience. Obviously, I really enjoyed it there. Part of the reason I came here was the coaching staff was so similar, so I obviously have a lot of respect for them, just like I have a lot of respect for Coach Ferentz.
What's been the hardest thing? What were the hardest things about making the transition here?
Yeah, so just obviously it's a little more of a time demand here. In my first 2 years here, I was working on my master's, so it was pretty challenging to balance that, along with the uptick in competition. Everyone's a little bigger, a little faster. So just getting up to speed in that way, but things are really slowed down. So,
what's your master's in?
It's interdisciplinary studies in Russian politics.
Why that?
Russian politics?
Yeah, in specific. Yeah, specifically.
Cool. You have Russian heritage?
I don't know.
It was Putin's 69th birthday, I think, yesterday.
Oh, was it?
You didn't.
I didn't celebrate. No.
Good. But what do you want to do? I mean, I'm sure you want to play pro ball, but with the Masters, how do you want to apply that?
Yeah, so obviously I want to take football as far as it can go. I love this game, but obviously life goes on for a long time after football, and I'd love to work in the State Department, something of that nature, and that's kind of why that got me down the Russian track. That's a really important thing for our national security.
Really? What about that appeals to you?
I've always liked studying politics. My undergrad was in history, so that's kind of just studying politics is just history in motion, history in the present. So it's really interesting to me.
I suppose that once you've played Big Ten football and been in an atmosphere like Saturdays, nothing's intimidating.
Well, in different ways, yeah.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I'm a little more used to that than some other environments.
Do you have political aspirations, or is it more just like behind the scenes?
Oh, I'm not sure. That'd be awesome. I don't know if I'm, quite the person for that, but we'll see. I didn't expect to be here a couple of years ago, so we'll see.
This year, is it just football for you? Your 6th year? Do you have the?
Yeah, so I'm still full-time enrollment. I'm still taking Russian in terms of language and a couple other classes, but just mostly football.
Can you speak it at all?
Beginner to intermediate. It's a pretty difficult language in terms of how long it takes to master it, as opposed to like Spanish or some other Romance language.
It was about this time last year that the 12-game win streak you're on sort of started. What's been the secret sauce to all this over the last year or so?
Yeah, I guess just looking back, those first 2 losses were kind of gut-wrenching, and we really had to evaluate what our practice habits were and things like that. And just that after that Purdue loss last year, we were practicing really hard, and we didn't pull out that win against Northwestern, but we just kept practicing harder and harder, and I think that's been the difference.
Is it hard not to get carried away and distracted by that number 2? I mean, you guys are human beings, and I'm sure it's super exciting, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's sure you can, obviously there's a rhetoric. I mean, obviously we see that that's happening, but I think we really do a good job of focusing on the here and now. Obviously, that's just sports writer's best guess, things like that. So we'd like to have that ranking, or a ranking of that quality after the year, that sort of thing. So we're not really too focused on it at the moment.
No better feeling than battling with the brothers out there. And, in a game like that, it was a blast, and, it's a memory I'll have forever.
How easy is it to move on? I know you guys have the 24-hour rule, but that one's a little bit more emotion attached to it.
Yeah, it's definitely more challenging, but, world don't care. We're moving on. We have to, and if we don't, then we're going to pay the price. Because we're playing a good football team this Saturday, and all focus is onward. But yeah, it's probably a little more challenging this week just because of the way the game was. But I think we're doing a good job moving on.
Purdue's got a new DC. What are they doing differently this year than they were doing last year defensively?
Yeah, I think they're a little less multiple with their fronts. Their coverages are slightly different. They play pretty similar to Iowa. A lot of under cover 4 and stuff like that. But same guys. A lot of the same guys, I should say, and a lot of really good athletes out there, and some players we have to really be aware of, and we're expecting a really hard-fought, good game on Saturday.
You guys are beating you 3 out of the last 4. Is that in your guys' minds at all? Are you aware of that?
I'm very aware of it. I think because definitely my freshman year they got us there, and my true freshman year that would have been, and then I remember that year watching film from the year prior, and that was an ugly game for us, and so it's definitely something to remember, and doesn't matter what our record is, what our ranking is. Like these guys, like you said, have gotten us 3 out of the last 4 years, and it's our job to go out there and really compete and play our best on Saturday.
It's crazy to think that was your first start against this team. Does that linger in your head a little bit too? Think about that, how you've grown as a quarterback.
Yeah, totally. Still have a pretty bad taste in my mouth from that game last year. So really looking forward to getting out there and getting to compete against them again. Because it's never fun losing, especially never fun losing. So just want to play really well this Saturday.
How's it going? What's the challenges now in keeping that even keel and not, settling for, hey, we beat Penn State, we're 6-0. How do you keep it going?
Yeah, it's like Coach Ferentz has been saying in the meetings, rankings in October, they don't really mean anything. If we, start coming a little bit closer to November, December, that's when that stuff actually starts to matter a little bit. But right now, all that matters is taking care of Purdue this week, doing the things that we've been doing to get to 6-0.
Is it hard, and I know we kind of asked you this a lot, but does it get harder every week to brush that stuff aside? Because the longer you get in the season, you keep winning, the stakes are going to get higher.
Well, we got such a great group of guys and such great coaches that keep us on the even keel, like you said. So it really hasn't been all that difficult, going by the 24-hour rule, flushing it, and getting ready for the next opponent.
Looks like Riley might be out this week. What does he bring, and what would the team maybe lose with him out?
Yeah, he brings sort of athleticism and speed and experience that is really going to be tough that we're missing him. But Terry's done a great job in practice all year with the twos, and obviously he stepped in Penn State and did a great job. And so we're just as confident in him. But obviously Riley's a big loss.
How do you just? Week in and week out, people are thinking, okay, one of these weeks, interceptions aren't going to happen, and they keep happening. How do you explain it?
We're not trying to do anything. The key to it is that we're not trying to do anything special. We're just letting the plays come to us. Everybody playing their assignments, having their eyes back on the quarterback, and just doing their job and understanding that you do your job enough times in a row, eventually the offense is going to make a mistake. So that's kind of the way that we, this mentality that we subscribe to on defense, and obviously it's been working out a little bit.
Purdue's kind of had your number past couple of years. Coaches remind you of that, hey, this is not one we can be looking past?
Oh, absolutely. They remind us, but we all know it all too well that, these guys, they've, like you said, the last 3 out of the 4 years, they've had our number. They've got a good receiver who's he's had some big games against us. So, there's no added importance necessarily. It's just like every single game. We're just making sure that we're doing what we need to do.
like all the college football, right? You get you're on the number 2 team in the nation.
Yeah.
How exciting is it just to be part of this right now?
Super exciting. I mean, sometimes it still doesn't feel real. It's surreal. Thinking back to this time last year, I was in high school playing on Friday nights, and now I'm competing on, the number 2 team in the nation, and, I'm blessed. So,
what does it mean to be contributing so early on in your career here at Iowa?
I mean, it feels great. Doing everything I could do to help the team. Don't know what that consists of every game, but just being able to provide a spark, is what I go into every game thinking I want to do. So, yeah.
Some freshmen come in and they think, I need to maybe I'm not sure how much I get to play. Are you one of those guys where if I get 1 catch, you get 6 catches, and I just want to be on the field?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a lot of freshmen that want to be on the field right now, and I'm blessed to be able to be on the field. And, like I said earlier, don't really come to the game knowing what to expect, but, I just want to help out the team any way I can. Sometimes I might be blocking, but sometimes they might depend on me to get catches and, make something happen. So that's what I've been focused on.
Is it hard to move on after a win like that against Penn State in that type of atmosphere?
How I put it, Coach Ferentz does a good job keeping us grounded. He lets us enjoy it for the night, but when we come back in Sunday for means, it's time to erase that and move on. We play in the Big Ten, and no week's easy, so you got to come focused and prepared, ready to go every game.
How big has that learning curve been for you? You mentioned a year ago you were playing on Friday nights in high school. Now you're playing in the Big Ten. But has the game slowed down at all for you, or are you still taking every moment and adjusting to the game speed?
Definitely still adjusting. But I feel like as the season has progressed on, I saw myself taking improvements every game. Just certain things I used to do, I'm working on fixing. And, but the learning curve, it was fast at first, really fast, but something you have to get adjusted to. And every week I notice it to slow down a little bit, and hopefully that leads to me being able to play better.
I noticed you have 4 different earrings. Is there a meaning behind the different ones you have on, or is it just no? I didn't know maybe there was some sort of thing.
No, my mom likes them. She thinks she likes them, so I just figured maybe I'll be different. So
Gotcha.
I always rock these.
I don't think I could pull it off, so you're doing all right.
I bet you could. You could.
Don't say that, because then he will.
You guys are 6-0, but I got to feel like you guys think that there's a lot of room for improvement. Is that encouraging, knowing that you won all your games, but you can still do a lot more?
Super encouraging. There's a lot of teams that aren't 6-0 that, when we haven't played a perfect game yet and we are able to be 6-0, and, I feel like that keeps us going, keeps us grounded, just to know that we have won all the games and still have a long way to go to improve. And I feel like, sky's the limit for this team. We just have to, work those kinks out, and I think we're doing a good job. So.